And you write about his, though, missionary ecclesiology. You also talk about a missionary identity. So what does he mean by a missionary identity and a missionary ecclesiology?
Yeah, good question. The problem with the word mission is it's not a biblical word. It's a theological word, and theological words are like suitcases. You pack a bunch of stuff into it, and then with that little one suitcase, you're able to communicate a lot quickly. And if you want to know what's in that suitcase, you got to unpack it. And the suitcase, mission suitcase that's been used for many years has been the idea of going from the mission, from home base to the mission field. It was first used in the 16th century. But the word mission is a theological word like Trinity, like providence. They're not in the Bible, but they're trying to pack biblical stuff into it. So one word. And so when you start unpacking it and you start saying, okay, mission is about cross-cultural missions in the colonial paradigm, you say, well, that's marginal, if it's even faithful anymore in light of the colonial paradigm. But I started realizing that there's a lot more. It was a very different suitcase for Newbigin and for many others. So I start with a missionary encounter with culture, a church being faithful, not being syncretistically absorbed. So my next step back is, well, what's the church anyway? And that's what Newbigin was talking about, a missional church. And what he meant by that is that the whole biblical story has a missional direction. Meaning by that, the Bible moves from one man to all the nations. It moves from Abraham to all the nations in the book of Revelation. And that missional direction of moving from one man through one nation, through the one man Jesus, through the church in Jerusalem, out to the nations, and using the community, God uses that community, Israel, then the church, to accomplish his purposes, to bring the good news to the nations, that is a missional direction. And the people of God have a missional vocation or identity, meaning that they have a role to play in this story, that God is restoring the blessing of creation in them, but not only in them, through them to the world. And so this missional identity is not simply doing evangelism or going overseas. It's about being the true humanity that God intended human beings to be for the sake of the world. So basically, God creates Adam. Adam thwarts God's purpose for the creation. God chooses Abraham, and he's going to form a new humanity out of the old humanity to be what Adamic humanity failed to be. And he begins to create this new humanity that will be what Adamic humanity failed to be. And that is going to be the people of God through the story. And they're to be that new humanity as God works in them, but not just for their own sake, but so that they can be a light to the nations, so that their lives can be attractive before the nations. Deuteronomy 4 speaks, where Moses speaks to Israel, says, now you're going into the land. And if you live out this Torah, this law that shapes you in a way of love and justice and wisdom, before the nations, they will ask the question, who is your God? Where is this law? And they'll be attracted to me as the living God. That's what missional is all about. But the problem with today, and I won't continue the story, is that now that people are not an ethnic people defined by political community. They're now communities in every idolatrous nation of the world, whether that be India, whether that be the United States, Canada, Britain, Korea. And now they're called to be what Israel failed to be, the new humanity in every part of the world. And so their vocation is to be that new humanity. She said, this is God's purpose for humanity in the midst of the world. This is the new humanity that one day will inherit and populate the new earth. Don't you want to join us and become part of this new humanity? And only to the degree we're offering a new way of being human and inviting people into that, not allowing the idolatry of our culture to dehumanize us, only to that degree are we being faithful. So I realized that his whole concern for encountering the idols of culture was bound up with his view of a missionary church, a missional church being in their identity of being the new humanity, living into the story and calling others into it. So that's what that language would try to convey.